So I'm going to read from They Promised Me the Gun Wasn't Loaded. This is the second book in a series. In the first book, four students at the University of Waterloo get superpowers. I should say the setup of this book. In 1982, the Elders of the Dark suddenly came out of the closet and said, why have we been hiding? You want to be a vampire? You want to be a werewolf? Pay us $10 million. We'll make you one of us. And then you won't age. You will be immune to disease. Thank you. And you'll have all kinds of spiffy powers. So by the time this book starts, all the rich people basically are monsters. Sometime after the rich began to become monsters, superheroes appeared. Who knows why? But at this point, the 1% are vampires, werewolves, demons, and the 99% are protected by the people who are just too dumb not to avoid touching the glowing meteor or falling in the vat of chemicals or all the other things. This story is told by one of the superheroes. She is a 21-year-old biology student. I'm the smartest actual human on the planet, also the strongest and the fastest. But despite my best efforts, I'm not the drunkest. This stupid airplane hasn't stocked enough booze to do the job. Doesn't help that I'm competing for alcohol with 3 darklings up in first class. My hearing is, of course, the best a humans can be, and I can hear quite clearly that they're having a drinking contest. I saw the darklings when I got on the plane. A vampire, a werewolf, and a demon one-off whose hide is a patchwork of human skin, mammal fur, bird feathers, and insect chitin. That's only what I could see on her face and hands. Under her Armani, she likely has an entire zoo's worth of skin, fish scales, tortoiseshell, jelly from Cnidaria, maybe tree bark and vegetable rinds too, who knows, even stuff from extraterrestrials. I should ask if she'd let me examine her. I need a project for Biology 399. But she'd likely to tell me to go to hell. I've never met a darkling who wasn't a mean drunk. All 3 darklings sound like drunken assholes. They're loud enough that even normal people around me can hear them. At this moment, the darklings are hassling the cute guy who's playing air host for first class. On major flights like New York to London, the airlines know that first-class attendants will have to deal with obnoxious darklings, so every attendant gets an amulet or a psi shield to defend against magical mind stomps. But gadgets like that are ungodly expensive. On pissy little runs like this one from Edmonton to Waterloo, the staff are expected to resist through sheer force of will. Yes, she is an Albertan. Yeah, right. Even back here in sub-economy, I can feel the darklings flaring their shadows. Every passenger on the plane is staggered by the effect. Faces pale, hands trembling. A couple of folks are puking into their barf bags. The first-class air host is probably hyperventilating into an oxygen mask, but I can't tell for sure. The curtain is drawn between the first-class cabin and ours. Still, pisses me off. Oh, look, I'm up on my feet. I'm not immune to the force of darkling shadows, but being a superpowered spark, I have a dollop of mental resistance. On a scale from 0 to shitting myself, walking toward the darklings matches what I felt when my academic advisor told me I was close to flunking out. Or maybe more like before a hockey game when our team is up against strong opposition. I just tell myself that fear won't improve my game, so I go on offense, like I'm doing now. I force myself forward rather than running back to the bathrooms, partly because a crowd is already stampeding to bathroom land, but mostly because I'm a heroine, fighting fuckery wherever I find it. Also, I'm half drunk and making bad choices. So there's that. I push through the curtains and enter first class. It's empty except for attendant dude and the 3 darklings. 2 other seats have a lived-in look with their TVs displaying a business channel and with hastily discarded copies of the Financial Post covering damp spots on the upholstery. The occupants of those seats are nowhere in sight, probably locked in the up-front washrooms. Good. Means I don't have to worry about bystanders. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do. Ah, fuck this, I'm drunk, I'll wing it. Yo, I say, what's holding up my drinks? The darklings turn their eyes toward me. Vampire red, werewolf green, and the demons one brown, one composite. The werewolf is already furry. Well, thank you, baby Jesus. Actually, seeing a werewolf change is enough to make your bladder crawl out of your panties. If that part's done, the worst is over. I'm assuming, of course, that the darklings won't actually fight me. That's a reasonable assumption. The darker are as rich as fuck, so they don't like getting their hair mussed. Usually they pay other people to do their rough, tough, dirty work. Besides, these darklings probably own stock in the airline. So they won't want to cause costly damage. On the other hand, they may be drunker than me, if only because first-class passengers get all their hooch for free. After a moment of silently staring at me and wondering, who the fuck is this bitch? All three darklings amp up their shadows in an aura to turn my brain into pudding. In Bio 370, we called this diamatic behavior, attempting to intimidate other creatures by physical displays, like cobras flaring their hoods or poison frogs inflating their butt cheeks. Most normal humans would collapse under the psychological onslaught. However, it's common knowledge that alcohol makes some people immune to darkling shadow auras. I won't endanger my secret identity if I pretend not to feel their mental mugging. More interestingly, the haughty air attendant doesn't seem too crushed either. His skin is a perfect black, really black, and also perfect, making me want to rub my face all over his body. So the guy will never go pale, no matter how frightened he gets. But despite being here at ground zero of the darkling auras, Mr. Dude only looks a bit shaky. He hasn't even retreated behind his coffee cart. Maybe the airline did give the guy a defensive talisman. Or maybe he's the 1 in a million human with natural resistance to magic. Or maybe, like me, he's just numbed himself with C2H6O, which makes perfect sense if you know you're going to spend a 3-hour flight rubbing elbows with the dark. Miss, the attendant says, please return to your seat. I say, I will, but not empty-handed. I'm surprised the words come out anywhere near intelligible. The darklings are still trying to make my brain cells shrivel. With every passing moment, retreat gets more attractive. I came up here because I thought the darklings were making waves without adult supervision. Now that I see Mr. Hottie isn't jabbering in panic, I'm okay with letting him deal with the situation. It's his job, after all. And while I happen to be the most tactful, diplomatic human on the planet, and therefore a better, smoother over of darkling jackassery than Mr. Air Host Cutie Dude, I'm also hella respectful and would never undermine his authority by trying to do his work for him. I'm also not so completely in the bag as to ignore the chance that me and the darklings are going to brawl if diplomacy fails. Since a 3-on-1 darkling/superhero fight is a bad idea at 30,000 feet, I'm prepared to retire graciously without further ado. As soon as I get another shot of Captain Morgan, or Smirnoff, or Johnny Walker, whatever color is cheapest, I'll have what they're having, I say to Cutie Boots. I point to the row of single-shot bottles in front of the darklings. They have way, way more than they'll ever need. Consider this redistribution. Down with R, up with G, 1 for you, 3 for me. Or else I'll just drink these 3 job creators under the table and prove that a real human's tolerance for alcohol poisoning beats candy-ass magic every time. The 3 drunks stare at me for a long, long moment. Then the demon with the patchwork skin gives the Morpheus Matrix hand gesture. Come on, little girl, show us what you got. You want to join the contest, the demon asks. She sets an unopened bottle on the seat tray in front of me. We'll deal you in. About fucking time, I say. I plop myself in the big comfy chair at the end of their row. Hi, I tell them. I'm Jules. And we'll leave it there.